Kagiso, welcome to the segment.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I'm so happy and I'm so excited to have a conversation with you around areas that affect the youth and areas that you think can take Botswana and Africa to the next level. Before we start, I would like you to share who is Kagiso and what does she do?
Okay, well, I mean that's a mouthful, but Kagiso is just a simple girl from Bobonong who had dreams of traveling the world and doing whatever she wants and helping others while she's at it. So basically my background, like you just introduced me nicely, is comms, media. I've been a lecturer at Limkomkwing. I run a charity called Nayang Association, which donates school shoes, sanitary pads, food, clothing to kids in remote areas. And I've done monitoring and evaluation for a project, a UN project in Tsabo.
Yes. I would like to know more about all these things that you are working on. But firstly, I want to start with you. I realized you are saying you are more into communication, you're more into media. What inspired that? Maybe from a young age, what inspired you to go into that space with so many other areas, career choices that maybe you have gone into? Like, what is the motivation behind all that?
Right. I think there's a central interest here. When I was a kid growing up in Orapa, my father was very intent on me learning how to read books that were even advanced for my age, because he would sit me down after he makes me read and try to see if I could grasp what the book was about. So I think from then I learned how to when I read a book, the interpretation will be different from other people. And then I also now had an imaginative mind. I wanted to create, so that's where the creative aspect of me was born.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it was nurtured from a young age.
So I have my father to thank for that.
All right. There's one thing that maybe many people maybe know that you do. You're part of the organization Nayang Association. I want to know what really inspired you to move into that space, and what was the broader vision of starting something amazing such as that. So maybe you also share the kind of impact it has created, linking it to the award that you were given through the Chevenier Scholarship because of the impact you are creating in Botswana. So I want to know more about that.
Great. So Nayang Association was born because for a long time, since I think I never used to believe when people said something was a calling, but I believe this, for me, it was a calling from a young age. I was able to identify privilege because we were privileged enough to go to Orapa schools, and you live a sheltered life, and then it's totally different. The kids are still going to school without shoes, torn uniform, and there's only enough that you can do as a child. But I always knew from then on that I wanted to help. So as I grew older, I wanted to volunteer for the Red Crosses, but it was never something. Nothing ever really interested me until I met a man called Girish Ramakrishna. I was working as a journalist at the Sunday Standard. Girish Ramakrishna was taking cricket to kids in remote areas of Botswana, and we had never known cricket to be a public school a sport. And he was doing it with money from his own pocket, and he was passionate about it, and the rollout was amazing. So I sat down with Mr. Girish and I wanted to get mentorship and guidance from him. Then I found out his father was the founder of the Indian Development Foundation. They have over 120 projects across India. There are nunneries, schools, hospitals. So he offered me a chance to come and do a social responsibility internship. So that was in 2009. So I saved up, went there to Chennai for 3 months, lived in the slums. Learned everything there.
What was the burning desire behind going to a country you don't know, to learning so that we can come and can create impact?
Well, because I always knew that I wanted to help people in remote areas, and I knew that the one thing that we have in common with India is our low income society, like the working class the inequality there is really terrible, or the unemployed really suffer great poverty. So these people were coming up with programs on how to help
to bridge the gap between the inequalities.
Yes. So when I went there, it was with the intention of learning. I wanted to learn, and I wanted to shadow this great man who started from nothing to now having 120 projects. I felt like that's something that I could do here as well. So we're based at a cancer, a leprosy, there's still leprosy, but you are not. HIV and AIDS, which we have here, cancer hospital, it was called Grimaldi's. So we would go out into the communities, try to teach them how to take care of themselves, especially the ones that had already been infected by leprosy. And then we'll go to universities, teach kids about HIV and AIDS, because it's also a reality over there. So I learned how to overcome the language barrier. I learned how to talk to people as if you're on the same level, and use layman's terms to explain certain things. So when I came back, I was very, very inspired. Then I unfortunately I had to finish school first. That was in 2009. 2010 I finished my degree, and then in 2011 I was lucky enough to be picked to go for a Chevening scholarship to study for communications and media in Cardiff. So when I came back, that's when I started the charity.
Okay, so I see that exposure has played a great role. Mentorship and exposure has played a great role. So part of what you also did now from running Nayang Association is the exposure to different people in different societies. And I understand that, you know, that role of reaching out and sharing knowledge with people in marginalized communities, you end up also having to work with the UN. Can you talk much more about that, the role that you are playing in the community and stuff like that?
Okay, I think first I should mention that Nayang, you know, it was a group of young professionals, like-minded people. You know, you had your full-time jobs. I was teaching at Limca. Others are doctors, based in Dukwi. We came together because we believe that there's a mindset here that needs to be changed, which is that you don't have to be rich to make a contribution, no matter how small, to your community. So that's where the whole concept started, and then we got in touch with the teachers, because we believe that the teachers see the students every day. They know what their needs are. This is how we started picking school shoes first. It was something, we did our research, so it was something that came up a lot. And then we now try to engage corporate. But before we engage corporates, we wanted to lead by example. So from our own pockets, our membership fees and the extra money that we had, we went to, our first school was Kope, where now we saw how things work at the village, where you know that if you're bringing a donation, the Khosi will have to be there, the VDC will have to be there, certain members of the community, especially the parents of the kids who are receiving the school shoes, have to be there. So we know now how we engage communities at that level. We can't have everybody, because there's still an issue of pride amongst people in remote areas. They don't. It shouldn't be a show off. It's to show that we're bringing
really truly
because
care.
there's a need.
There's a need.
Yes. We're not trying to say you're poor. We're helping. So then that has helped me, because I know how to sell a concept to corporates, because we've had both SA High Commission come on board, even British High Commission itself, FedEx Botswana, Old Mutual has helped us too in the past. We worked with Bobakak, the Lady Kama charity, and it all came on board because of how we use social media and traditional media to spread the message about what we were doing and what kind of help we needed. So I guess in this context, this is where my comms came in handy, because you don't people are tired of stats. People don't want to see stats. People want to read stories that they can relate with. So when it's when you boil stories down to the individual, or when you show them the realities of what's happening in the ground, then that's when they are more inclined to help. Because when you're in Gaborone, you don't see the bigger picture, poverty as much. What's happening, but just go to say here, then you'll change your mindset. And then the work that I was doing with the UN was still communications, monitoring and evaluation of a project, and gender mainstreaming of this project that is based in Kalahadi and Khanzi. For me, also, those were 3 areas of passion, because gender mainstreaming is important for women to have a voice. It's important that women are in decision-making roles. You can't just have women on a board, but they don't say anything. We need to empower them to know that they are important as well. They need to be heard, and obviously they can make a contribution. So with our program, what we did is we ensured that every training that we did, whether it was governance trainings, we made sure that there was a 50-50 percentage of attendance, be it at technical working level or even at a simple community exercise. We needed that equality. And then when it came to the comms, obviously, like I said, my first love, it was easy, because now it's us telling people what the UN is doing in Kalahadi and Khanzi.
So your most of your role playing in whatever project you are doing is trying to connect on what the standardized national policies are about, and breaking down to the community normal person to say this is what it means to you. All right, I'm not surprised. The first we are at the episode 8 now. The first few episodes, the same question I asked different guests were that we still have a lot to do on ground before we can be able to talk about knowledge-based economy. And your thoughts about some of the challenges that you've gone through that has made you the person that we know today. What are some of the things that you can say, this is what I could have learned earlier, this is what I could have done better in my career? I would like to know some of those that young people today watching this segment would say, okay, I've been through this, and I was thinking this is the end of my journey, this is the end of my career.
Oh wow, that's a really interesting question, because I never really believe that you can make a mistake, especially career-wise. You can only learn from there. Because I started working when I was doing second year at university. So maybe I think the biggest thing that I should have done was save. But I also, I believe life is meant to be lived. So
one of the challenges was saving. I'd like to get you back. You started working while you were doing second year. How did that happen? How did you position yourself to be in that position?
Because I knew I was a good writer, and because there was a professor called Professor Felix Mtali. He's retired now. He's Malawian. He used to read my work and say, you should write for a newspaper. You should write for a newspaper. And then he used to teach Otamokon. Wow. So sometimes it's the connections. So I said, okay, Prof, let me give this a try. I'm not doing media related anything at this school. I'm doing environmental science. It had nothing to do with
writing.
But Professor Mtali, I met him because I was I took an option. It had something to do with the African diaspora.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So what happened? And then Professor Mtali wrote me a letter of recommendation. I went to Ota's office so many times. But he said he was a busy man. But I was relentless too. So eventually they said, okay, we can take you on as an intern. See how it goes. So second week, because I was like that annoying kid, always trying to, I want to write a story. How do I write a story? So I follow around the older journalists, and in my second week, I had published an article. I remember it was a gender links article. I had met my LC Alexandra because I was trying to understand this gender concept.
Yeah.
Because also, at the time, the media was so full of males that even when people were looking for me, because my name is a unisex name, they would just assume I'm a man.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Yeah, unless I'm writing in the entertainment section, which I tried not to do. So from then onwards, they took me on. And then started paying me per article.
Wow.
And then when I finished school, immediately they hired me full time, which is very rare.
So that's why I wanted to ask how was that? Because today we are talking unemployment, and that is maybe one of the lessons that people, besides you are saying saving, the second one is start earlier. Whatever you are good at, just try. Even when people say you are good at.
Yes.
So besides that, you can always learn.
Yeah.
Besides that and saving, what is one thing that you say you could have done better earlier?
Okay, here we go. So and then because I'm on this roller coaster of then after I get my degree, full-time job, and then after full-time job I go for a 1-year master's. After 1-year master's, come back to this job. From this job I go into lecturing, media lecturing at Limco. That's when I realized that when I was doing this, I was leaving some of the things that I was passionate about behind. So they were always at the back of my mind. I wanted to write a book. I've always wanted to write a book. I wanted to start the charity. When do I get time to do that? To a point whereby like now it just it was distracting me to a point where I just decided I'm quitting. I'm quitting and I'm going to focus on what I want to do. So now here, mistake number one, you quit without knowing really what was involved in Plan B. I didn't do my research very well about how books did in the market or how charities run and how they would require money from your own pocket. So that was my one mistake, not researching what I was going into next. In those 3 years that I was in that field, focusing on Nayang Association, on the books, and then MD Africa Communications came about because I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I was a journalist. I know I have a network of journalists. I can do media relations. I can do social media management. Because I saw through Nayang and through the book that I was able to engage. So why not? We find gaps as you work on these other areas.
And I see your words earlier why you say it is not like a mistake, you learn from it and build from it. So currently you are running MD Africa Communications, and that is what is its major focus? Right.
Well, our major focus is obviously CSR consultancy, community social responsibility consultancy, because Nayang has a mandate. It's limited. So now we have these corporates who've seen the good work that you do with my team. It's not just me. And then they would want to have a sit down. This is time. Time is money. I want to have a sit down and then get ideas from you about what they can do with their budgets. So now that was another opportunity. That I picked up. It was a gap. So goes into MD Africa. MD Africa is also the one that publishes my books because I'm self-published. And then also we try to merge because with the work that we do, we travel a lot. We try to bring in we'll go to a place like Malacca, for example, which not many people are exposed to. How can we monetize this situation here? Because you'll get a lot of interest from social media, and then people could do bookings through you if you can come up with packages for people. And I mean, it's not just for your company. Then you're promoting Botswana, which is truly my first love as well. People exploring and knowing their countries. So we do that also through our hiking activities at Nayang. There's synergies in all that we do.
I see.
I
see. So I'm really happy to have known so much that I didn't know about you. What are your last words to someone watching at home? What is it that you can tell them? But before your last words, I want you to share with me what drives you, what keeps you on the go. You know, when you wake up each and every day, what gives you that motivation to rise up and say, I can do better?
Oh, wow. You know what? I think I'm self-driven. I always think I can do better than my last work. And I always think if I have an idea, I have to follow up on it.
Yeah.
Whether it will fail or not, I have to follow up on it. So this has led us today, because Nayang started in 2014. Then we realized along the way, look, we've been buying shoes from Pep, from Ackermans, all these shops that I'm trying not to advertise, but we don't have school shoes locally that we can buy. So why don't we create our own shoe? So we're currently in the process of designing the shoe.
Wow.
And then we're going to have a demo, and then we're going to take it around to a few people that can
polish, make them better.
Polish it, make it better, and then have the Nayang shoe leather production center that we're going to be working with. So we want everything to be local. Even at distribution, we're not going to go into big retailers. We're going to go into shops that are owned by Botswana and sell it.
And now the organization can run sustainably.
Thank you.
Because one thing that I wanted to share is that sometimes we say, I'm going to run an organization, and you realize an organization is actually a business. Because if you are waiting for other people, then those people can donate on their own. Now,
or I think they can dictate
what to do. So I think I'm so happy about that, because as we move into the area of organizations, now most people can understand that you can actually run a fully fledged business, a social enterprise, but still being able to run the mandate of an organization.
Exactly.
I'm really happy to hear that. What are your last words to our viewers?
I think my last words would be let's shift from saying government should do this, government should do that. Let's research and find out what other people in other countries are doing, and see if it's something that we can adopt here. Like, for example, the school shoe model is something that we saw happening in South Africa. It's working really well. The self-publishing, something that we see from Black African authors, is working really well for them. That's why because a lot of us wouldn't be published if we didn't go into the self-publishing space. And then obviously, it's a way to also make a living, make ends meet. As long as you have a product that is yours, you can't go to bed hungry.
Thank you so much for watching. That was Kagiso Madibana. Make sure to check her page, Kagiso Madibana Books and Nayang Association, as well as MD Africa Communications. And also, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much.